Alright, so we are back for another review, and today we're going to be checking out a really exciting Moondrop. This is the Moondrop Aria Snow Edition, and this seems to be an updated version of the Moondrop Aria with a different tuning. So that is what I heard. Of course, we're going to confirm that in this unboxing. Alright, so first let's unbox this thing. So looking at the front, you're getting that maybe different look compared to the previous Moondrop Arias. At the other side, you're getting some specifications. 0.7 to 8mm 2-pin connector, 20 to 20 kHz in the frequency range, 32 ohm impedance as well, and the Aria Snow high performance diamond-like diaphragm dynamic driver in your monitors. I do like to thank Shenzhen Audio for sending this over. Of course, links down below if you want to get one. So you seem to have a flap here, a Moondrop as well. Opening it up. There you go. And that is the Snow White. Wow. That looks really cool. From the get-go, this might be a bit more premium in the feeling compared to the previous one. Looking at the case itself, Aria and Snow Edition, so gold in trims as well. That's really cool. And checking the inside here, and this also maybe a smaller case as well, but feels good quality. But this might just fit one IEM. And then you're getting that cable as well inside, and even the white, the inside is maybe a velour padded here with some pouches. Really cool. This is something that I can use personally, so because it's not that big, so I do like that. This might have some dirt though after some time, but not a big issue. So going to the cable, this reminds me a lot of maybe the SSR SSP cable, so not the most sophisticated cable, I'd say, but different compared to the previous Aria. So the previous Aria is braided in cable. You are getting down the maybe SSR SSP type of cable, so definitely different in terms of the overall look here. And you're getting, of course, some 2-pin connectors and some ear hooks as well, and you are getting that L plug at the top. And actually, if you can see, hopefully you can, the box itself has that maybe kind of glow to it, so it's not a normal box here. Small details, Moondrop does that really nicely. Some tips additional, and you are getting this spring tips, which is definitely something I like. So I love this in the Moondrop Kato. It's nice to see this in this IEM. So for me, this is one of my new favorite tips, something that you should have in your collection. So first impressions, this is a metal build quality here, and cool to the touch. And as you guys can see, you are seeing that intricate design here. So the design is more intricate compared to the previous one for sure. And the color as well, yeah, you're getting that silver or maybe lighter gray silver kind of color. And I do like that you have that maybe matte in finish as well. So this is not the glossy, maybe Tin Audio T3 kind of style. This more matte, which looks a bit more sophisticated for me. So I love this look. But in terms of the shape, you're getting that similar shape compared to the Arias. So this might be really maybe stable to the ear. Very safe shape, I'd say. So a lot of people have worn the Aria with no issues. And similar with the Moondrop Starfield as well in terms of the design. So really cool on that. You're getting that insertion, but not the deepest insertion that you can see. There are some IEMs that can maybe isolate a bit better than this, and you're not getting some fins as well, which is quite okay. But definitely I do like the weight on the hand here, and the design, the intricacy in the design is really cool. So let's put the cables in. Alright, so we now have the Moondrop Aria Snow Edition on our ear. And yeah, the fit is very similar to the previous Moondrop Arias. But yeah, let's try to listen to some tunes, and we're listening to some Copa Cobana by Barry Manilow. And from the get-go, this definitely has less bass compared to the Moondrop Arias, the original one. So this is a bit more toned down in the bass region, a bit less fun, a bit less engaging to listen to. So a bit more reference kind of sound actually. Actually might be closer to the Moondrop Katos in a way. It's a bit more relaxed, a bit more toned down. So this definitely has maybe a bit more kind bass compared to what you're getting with the Moondrop Arias, the previous one. So I was yeah, my hunch was right that this is maybe a less bassy version, brighter version compared to the previous Moondrop Arias. So first thing that I noticed here is how nice the vocals are. So this more for bright neutral presentation to the ear, so quite level in the presentation, but you're getting maybe a slight hump on top, but not that much. So this is still, quite neutral for me in the presentation. Again, it reminds me a lot of maybe the Moondrop Katos in a way. So this is still north of reference in terms of the sound, but this is definitely nearer to a reference sound compared to the previous Moondrop Arias. So maybe the tuning here reminds me of the Heidi's MS2s in a way. So this has more clarity for me compared to the Moondrop Arias, the previous version. And this actually might have maybe a bit more revealing presentation, especially in the vocal region. So let us try another track for the bass. Let us try some Perm by Bruno Mars. So going to the bass region, tight in the overall presentation, more recessed in the mix compared to what you're getting with the previous Aria. Maybe around 3-4 dB, maybe 5 dB recessed. So definitely a bit more toned down. So this is more of an enthusiast bass for me in the mix. And this is quite small in the mix as well. But I would say this is not the tightest bass that I've heard. This still has maybe a bit of boom to it. So this still has a bit more slowness to it, which makes the bass still a bit more fun. There's just maybe slight more impactfulness there. So this is not a completely reference bass for me in the mix. It might have a bit of woofiness in the bass, a bit of slowness in the bass. So again, not the most technically capable, but that gives it a bit more fun presentation, a bit more liveliness in the presentation. But again, the quantity here, the volume is definitely gonna be less compared to the previous Arias. Let's go to some vocals. I Shot the Sheriff by Eric Clapton. So going to the vocals, much like the previous Arias, the vocals here are great. So this has some smoothness in the overall presentation, and the positioning is really great here, spot on in the positioning. So this is what you expect for a Moondrop type of vocal. And maybe compared to the previous Arias, this might be a bit more revealing to listen to. So maybe nearer to a Kato kind of sound. Positioning is really nice. The body really nice here. But even compared to maybe the Moondrop Starfields, the vocals here might be a touch more revealing in the mix. Still quite maybe a level vocal presentation for me. This is not an overly bright presentation. This is also not a warm presentation. Fairly level in the presentation. But this might have a bit more engaging nature to the sound. Actually, for some parts here, this might have a bit of maybe shoutiness to the overall presentation. So it will depend on your player. So I recommend maybe warmer or maybe neutral players to play your Snow Edition with. But this reminds me a lot of the Moondrop Katos here, really revealing to listen to. Going to some female vocals, let's try some Hallelujah by Paramore. Yeah, going to some female vocals, really nice positioning for me in the mix. So for both male and female vocals, really nice positioning. So in this price range, one of the better vocal positioning for me for sure. And again, in terms of the overall presentation, this has some smoothness. Body is really good. And there's a micro detail in the presentation as well. Though not, the most detailed pair that I've listened to in this price range. But there's definitely some micro detail there. And the tonality is really great as well in the vocal part. So for vocal heads, this is something that you can pick. And given that maybe a more toned down bass presentation, the separation here is definitely better compared to the previous ones. So definitely for me, the mids is the highlight of the Moondrop Arias. Let us try another track for the top end. Let's try some It's My Life by Bon Jovi. So going to the top end and some guitars. So you're actually getting that 12K in the mix, and you're getting that maybe slight elevation as well in around 7K region. But you're getting maybe a slight dip at around 10K. But still has ample shine for me in the mix, ample extension for me on top. And this doesn't feel boxed off to listen to, so it's quite again open to listen to for me. And what's nice is the top end for me is not hot to listen to, and definitely extended on top here. And the body and the cymbals for me pretty good as well. And there's some micro detail as well on top. But again, this is not a micro detail monster. So there's some other IEMs that has better detail compared to this. But compared to the previous one, so definitely given that maybe lower bass presentation, more toned down bass presentation. So the top end is a bit more prominent in the mix. And it makes the signature more bright to listen to. So lots of clarity here on top. Let us try some I Shot the Sheriff by Eric Clapton. And going to the cymbals, really good body as well on top. So it's not peaky for me to listen to. Yeah, checks all the marks for me. So much like the Moondrop Arias, the previous one, this checks a lot of marks for me in the sound signature. Going to some soundstage above average for me, quite big. Separation, great as well. So maybe better compared to the previous Arias because the bass here is a bit more toned down. Going to some detail, again, there's some micro detail here, but it's not a micro detail monster. And the tonality, really great here for me, quite natural for me to listen to. So yeah, great sound here overall, definitely different compared to the previous Arias. So next we're gonna try to compare it side by side with the previous one. Alright, so we are now listening to the previous Aria. Yeah, from the get-go, this definitely has more bass in the mix and more boom as well in the bass. You have that maybe slowness in the bass. So this is not the fastest bass that you can listen to, not the tightest bass as well. But definitely the quantity in the Snow edition is a bit more toned down. So yeah, the Aria, the previous version is definitely more fun to listen to for me. Has a bit more warmth in the overall presentation. Separation is gonna be better in the Snow Edition. Actually, for me, maybe the vocals is a bit more toned down or maybe a bit more relaxed to listen to here in the Moondrop Arias. So definitely the vocals is gonna be more revealing for me in the mix in the Snow Edition. Alright, so comparing these two, the Snow Edition is gonna be more of an enthusiast kind of listen, less bass in the mix, and a bit more open or maybe revealing vocal as well. So actually, yeah, for this, near shoutiness for me in the presentation, but I would say not quite there, but very near there. So definitely more revealing in the vocal region. And compared to the arias, this is a bit more toned down in the vocal, a bit more impactful bass in the mix, and bigger bass as well. So this is still a bit more fun for me, a bit more engaging to listen to over what you are getting with the Moondrop Aria Snow Edition. So this is kind of like an SSP, SSR kind of thing. So this is the Snow Edition is like the SSR, a bit more reference kind of sound, a bit more maybe enthusiast kind of listen. And the Aria previous version is the SSP, a bit more fun brother. So both can stay in your kit and you will get different sound signatures. If I'm gonna do some casual listening, I'm gonna go with the Arias. If I'm gonna do some maybe more critical listening, I'm gonna listen to the Snow Edition. So for me personally, if I'm gonna just buy between two, so these are both nice. But if I'm gonna just choose one, I will still go with the previous one. So yeah, I do like my warmth in the sound, and having a bit more low end for me is gonna be helpful for some casual listening. So yeah, I will still go with the previous Aria. But that is definitely a subjective kind of thing. There's no one that it's better than the other, so it's just different for me in the presentation. So yeah, the MS2s very nice still of a listen for me on the ear, revealing vocal as well. And definitely the MS2s has a bit more shine for me on top, maybe a bit more toned down vocal here actually, and a bit more micro detail, a bit more technicalities for me, maybe a bit more micro detail on top with the MS2s because of that BA driver. And maybe I'm liking maybe the tightness in the overall sound in the MS2s. They have very similar bass quantities, so a lot of similarities here, but in the overall sound, the Aria Snow Edition is a bit more toned down still, a bit less engaging to listen to, a bit more reference kind of sound. And yes, it has still a bit more maybe sizzle in the vocal part. So this is definitely a bit more aggressive in the vocals, in the presentation, but the bass region here is a bit more toned down. The presentation as well in the Snow Edition is a bit more reference, while it's a bit more maybe fun and engaging in the MS2s. So yeah, for this too, so the MS2s, I love it. So it's one of my favorites in the channel. So actually my title is my $100 maybe hybrid favorites. So yeah, for this too, what do I think? So for the MS2s, if I'm gonna do some casual listening, I will still go with the MS2s. This has more impactful bass, a bit more micro detail in the mix. So for the Snow Edition, I'm gonna use it for some critical listening. So a bit more reference kind of sound. If I like a bit more toned down sound, a bit more relaxed sound as well, I will go for this. So this is a bit more enthusiast listen for me on the ear because of that more toned down bass. Yeah, a bit different here. So again, this can exist both in your kit, and you will have a different sound to the ear. So it will depend on you what you like here. So for me personally, if I'm gonna just choose one, it will still be the MS2s. So yeah, it's a personal preference kind of thing. So still both are great, but I will still choose the MS2s. Alright, so verdict for the Moondrop Aria Snow Edition. So what do I think of it? So this is a really cool IEM for me. So it's still a very Moondrop, kind of sound to the ear. A lot of people will like the overall presentation here. But yes, this is a bit more reference sound compared to what you're getting with the previous Aria. A bit more toned down bass, a bit maybe more bright neutral presentation, a bit cleaner in the overall sound, and a bit brighter and a bit more aggressive vocal presentation as well. So it reminds me a lot of the Moondrop Kato here, more so compared to the Moondrop Aria in a way. So this is a bit more enthusiast sound for me to the ear, something that you can use for some referencing. So that's kind of cool. I think for the price that you're paying for around $80, this is definitely a lot of value for the money for this kind of tuning. And I will definitely recommend this IEM. If you're an SSP, SSR owner, if you have listened to them both and you like the SSR more so compared to the SSP, you will like this IEM for sure. This is the IEM that you should buy. But of course, if you do like the SSP, if you like a bit more low end there, you might like the previous Aria. That will depend on you. It's a personal preference kind of thing. But definitely for the price that you're paying for the $80 price range, really great value for the money here. And this might go to our top 5, and definitely a recommendation here in this channel. Alright, so that's my take with the Moondrop Snow Edition Aria. Of course, if you learned something, leave a like. and scarf more content like this in the future. So I actually want to see more of this, like maybe variations of some IEMs, because yeah, sometimes for example, you like the mids and the highs, but sometimes the bass can be a bit too much for some people and you can tone it down. So yeah, for some people that can be a unique selling point, having two choices, because some people, yeah, the bass tolerances of people is different. So having two versions with some similarities and different bass tunings can work for some people. But yeah, hopefully we can see that more in the future. That's it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next zpolt review. Goodbye.